go. All right. Dorothy? Dorothy, hello.
Oh, what? Whoa,
Hello,
Joy.
Dorothy.
Oh,
Hi.
hi. Sorry.
Did you lose track of time or something?
I guess I did. Had been doing a lot of sitting today and I wanted to get some movement going. So I completely forgot.
Oh,
I
here we are.
completely forgot. So sorry. I'm here. I'm ready. What are we talking about today?
Um, well, what do you think we should talk about today?
I don't know. I thought you were picking.
Um, how about movement?
Good idea. Yeah, let's talk about the importance of movement.
Excellent. Perfect idea.
Okay, so movement. Did you know that humans were designed to move?
Okay. A lot of us sit a lot, but okay, keep going.
It's true. We have kind of become a culture of sedentary people. Yeah, we do sit in our cars, at work, we sit to watch TV, we sit to eat, we sit all day, but we are designed to move pretty much a lot of the day.
Okay.
Um, so I know like there's systems in the bodies, and we talk about the cardiovascular system and all these other systems, but did you know that there's a system called the lymph system?
Okay, I do know that there is a lymph system.
Yep, I think we've
Okay,
all heard of lymph nodes and things like that.
yeah, yep,
Um, like the cardiovascular system has your heart, which pumps the blood
sure.
around your body. So
Okay,
the heart pumps it out, the veins bring it back, oxygenates, goes back out. The thing is, your lymph system has no pump.
okay,
So you have all this vital lymph fluid that your lymph fluid it takes away, the garbage in your cells. It delivers like immune cells to where they need to be. It really serves a lot of really important functions. So if we don't have a pump, any thoughts on how that lymph fluid gets around your body?
well, I know there's like people that do treatments to help move the fluid. I just don't get where it is. Like, is it everywhere? Lymph nodes, you hear about.
It's
But
everywhere. It's like
so
it has to reach pretty much almost every cell at some point in your body because
okay.
it's just that's like your trash delivery system and your immune cell delivery system. So the way to move your lymph around is
Oh, there she goes again. Walking.
walking.
That
It's the
easy?
movement of your feet that move the lymph up and down your body.
All
So
right.
if you're sitting all day,
Nothing's
no
moving.
lymph movement, which
That's
is
what-
why rebounding has become so popular because that bouncing on the rebounder helps move the lymph fluid up and down your body. So
Okay.
without the movement, your lymph is static and it's like not taking the trash out.
Yuck.
That's gross.
Ew. So the rebounder's that little trampoline,
A little mini trampolines,
any
yes.
trampoline that you can use
Yeah.
indoors. So that bouncing, you don't have to bounce 10 feet high. You just move. Okay.
Just move. Yep.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And in particularly in our culture that has become so sedentary, it's important to add in these bursts of movement throughout your day.
Yeah. Good, good, good. What else does it do? Like is you talked about heart health and lymph fluids.
Well, the impact of walking also it adds stress to your bones.
Okay. I'm assuming good stress because when
Good
you're
stress,
stressed, it
yes.
feels like not
It's
good.
the concussion of you walking on the ground adds that stress to your bones, and in response, your bones continue to build new bone and remain strong. It's like I don't know if you saw that one of my favorite movies, Wall-E, and all these people in the future who are living on the spaceship and they run around, they're in their little carts and they haven't walked for centuries and now they can't walk
Mm,
because their bones can't support their overly large bodies.
yeah.
You need that. And plus space, people like astronauts in the space station lose bone because of the lack of gravity. That pressure on your body onto the ground helps promote your nice strong bones. So movement is really important for maintaining. It needs the resistance of gravity against the
Okay.
earth to create strong bones.
I don't want to go off track, but are we always like building new bones?
Pretty much
Okay.
always. Yep. Yep. And I know there's a lot of talk about calcium and supplements and things like that, but generally speaking, as long as we eat a nutritious whole foods diet, you're going to get all the bone building material from your food that you need.
Nice, nice. So here we are sitting, but I um I've been working at a job where I stand a lot and we have standing desks and we're on our feet and I'm loving it. Where for years, like a lot of people, I was sitting at a desk, sitting at a computer, and I would try to get up and move here and there, but not really enough. And I've learned that standing um, just feels so much better on my body. And like I thought I would need arch support shoes and no. I'm just fine with my little zero shoes that I love that have, no arch support built in. It's just my feet. So it's really grounding. I'm still on the floor and in shoes, but it just has been a really, really a game changer for me.
It's true. Standing is really important. And yes, the barefoot shoe, ideally barefoot. I'm not really sure why we all kind of transitioned into hating bare feet so much. It's funny because that whole people think it's a health thing, the bare feet. I'm digressing a little bit here,
Yeah.
but I have a tendency to do that. But bare feet are no more, I mean, they're no dirtier than the bottom of your shoe. I mean, honestly, mostly they're probably cleaner than your shoe. The whole no shirt, no shoes started back in the 60s because restaurant owners didn't want those dirty hippies in their restaurants. It had
Yeah.
nothing to do with dirty bare feet. But now that kind of created this culture of thinking of bare feet as gross. And
Right.
honestly, bare feet are the best. And I personally put shoes on as absolutely rarely as possible. And yeah, when I do, it's my barefoot shoe. And I even actually have a brand that has like a peg in the bottom, which actually grounds me to the earth when I'm outside. So not only barefoot, but I get the earth's energy as well.
Right.
Because yeah, sitting in a chair like this with our
Yep.
like 90 degrees, that is absolutely 100% not a natural position for human beings.
Hmm.
It's completely contrary to our skeletal creation. We're designed to stand, we're designed to walk, and we're designed to squat.
Yeah.
I'm a personal trainer, and I have some older people in my client list, and a lot of them now all my clients can, but when they come to me, they can't squat.
Mm.
And
Americans don't squat.
no, nobody squats. And we were designed to pretty much we squat to eat, we squat to socialize, we might sit, Indian style on the ground, but mostly was squatting.
Yeah.
And kind of one of the things I work on with particularly my older women clients, is squatting. And all
Right.
my clients can now squat because it's crucial. It's a really good skill to have, particularly as you get older, because
Yeah.
the risk of falls as you get older. If you can squat, you can get up off the ground.
Yeah.
So
No, I love it. And there's something about brain development and brain health too with squatting,
yeah.
I've read.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really, I know, because like when I go out shopping, like bookstores or things like that, and if there's something down on a low shelf, I'll just squat down and I'll look and then I'll stand up again. And I don't know how many times people have like,
yeah,
like, how did you do that? I'm like, how do you not do
you just
that?
do
But
it. Just keep
yeah, so
doing it.
it is a good skill to have. And I know that so much is talked about with, like we're talking about shoes. I know the billion-dollar athletic shoe companies would like us to believe that we require that arch support, like you were talking about. If you're going to stand all day, you need that arch support. You really don't.
No.
Really don't. Your feet were designed to be barefoot. I mean, yeah, you're going to need to wear shoes where you're required, but also you don't want if you're out in the city or even in the woods sometimes you don't want to hurt your feet like glass and things like that. So you need to protect your feet in certain circumstances, but you do not need the arch support and all these manufactured and engineered shoes. You're depriving your feet the ability to compensate for all
Right.
your movements, and that's how they get strong, and that's how they have arch support is by being required to use it. So
Yeah.
yeah, the less arch support, bare feet is best. So you don't need, and I even when I was working more in the corporate world, I was kind of the bane of my boss's existence because I would not wear all the things that I was supposed to wear as a corporate person, and I never wore heels. And I just feel bad for these women who spend their lives in these heels and their toes are all pointed and they
Right.
get bunions and they get back pain. And I have like one of my clients is a massage therapist and she's young. She's still young and wore sneakers to work, not heels, obviously, as a massage therapist. But when she first started working with me, she was having back pain and things like that. And I encouraged her to try barefoot shoes. And she kind of did a gradual transition to I guess there's some shoes that are transition shoes, and then she went to fully barefoot shoes, and she says it's unbelievable the
Yeah.
difference in how, because she's on her feet all day, not
Sure.
necessarily walking a lot, mostly just standing, but getting out of those over-engineered shoes was a game changer for how she feels and her longevity in her profession.
I
So,
bet. I bet.
yeah. So yes, bare feet are best, and if you can't have actual bare feet, then barefoot shoes. There's several brands out there that
Yeah.
are available.
Yeah. I noticed they're everywhere now. It's easy to find them
Yeah,
online at least.
yeah.
Um, you were talking, about how we're not designed as humans, we're not designed to sit. And I was listening to Dr. Mark Hyman, a functional medicine doctor,
Hmm.
and he was talking about how it even wrecks your metabolic system too. That's another thing that is hurt by the fact that you're sitting and sitting and sitting for long stretches, and you can get like more prone to blood sugar spikes and things like that. And he said, just like find a way to move, set a timer or whatever. I know a lot of the apps we've talked about those apps that help you with your movement or your gratitude or whatever you're trying to remember to do. You can set reminders if you need it, if you're not one to get up off your desk once in a while. He says just 2 minutes of light walking every 20 to 30 minutes can lower your blood sugar, by a good amount, 30% even. So, not, he's not like talking about burning calories. It's just more about your metabolism, staying stimulated. So that's
Yes,
kind of cool.
absolutely. Yeah, the burning calories issue is a different podcast,
Yeah.
so I can go on and on about that. So we'll save that for later. But yeah, it's the and just a little side fact on that, less than 7% of Americans are metabolically healthy.
Mm,
That's a staggeringly low number.
yeah.
So yeah, if a 5-minute walk around your office can help alleviate some of that oversugaring, then yeah, it's important. It's important
Yeah.
to add into your day, and it's not as difficult as people might think just because we've gotten out of the habit of doing it. We go to work, we sit at our desk, and we think, well, I work through lunch or I can't get up
Yeah.
from my desk until lunch, but there's always a way. There's always, if you just kind of you can even get up and do like walk in place if you don't have, if you, or maybe just like you have bladder problems, tell your boss you have bladder, just go
Yeah.
to the bathroom like 10 times a
Right.
day or something, or walk around your desk or do a little dance, I mean, I don't know if you have a cube or you want to keep your coworkers guessing, just do a little dance,
Right.
and they're like,
Why not?
I don't care. It's like keep them guessing, I always say, right? But there's always a way to get a little bit of movement in your day. And it's really important to, particularly as we're sitting, and I know for a while, and I don't know if they're still a thing, but those Swiss ball chairs were a thing for a while. I think that might be better than just a regular chair, but it's still kind of in that seated position.
Right.
Um, So if you can actually get up and walk around, just walk around your desk a little bit or get up and stretch and maybe, just something to move your body
Yeah.
space 2 or 3 times in the course of an hour. If you can't get up more than once an hour, then make it a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
like when you're out running errands, park farther away so you can get a walk in on your way into the stores. And you mentioned when you're at work, taking your bathroom breaks, and maybe there's a bathroom farther down the hallway that you go to instead of the one right next to you, and things like that. Just it's simple things, but they do add up.
they do.
Gets your body.
That's funny you mentioned that because I went out to breakfast with my daughter and my husband, and my daughter was with me, and we met my husband at the restaurant. He always tends to park as close as he can, and he got there first. We were meeting him there. So there was a parking spot a couple of spots down. So I parked there, and my daughter's like, "Who are you?" She goes, I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Look how close we are to the
That's
restaurant."
great.
So yeah, I have and she's 43, so most of her life, I guess, I've been parking is people always are trying to get close. I'm looking for the one farthest away.
Same. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Like
like, who are you?
that's great.
So yeah, it's little things you can do that and think like people talk about putting their alarm clock across the room, but they do that so that they don't hit the snooze button. But it's also a good way to just start the day with a little bit of movement. If you have
Yeah.
to get up out of bed and to turn off your alarm, and there's always ways to add just a little bit of movement into your day. Like
Agree.
commercials, if you're still watching, network television, get up during the commercials. If it's not on the DVR and you're fast forwarding, get up during the commercials and go get a drink of water or walk around the living room or
Do some
something.
jumping jacks or
Do
something.
some jumping jacks, something like that, just to keep moving so that you're not sitting so consistently throughout the day.
Yeah, and you mentioned dancing. It's funny. There was a patient here at Dr. Ali's office just the other day. She's like 72, pretty healthy, but she's had some concerns about her heart health, and she wants to move more. Um, and I know she loves music, so I said, Leslie, why don't you go dancing more? And even, you don't have to go anywhere or join a gym. You could just turn on music and dance. And she was like, her face just got like so happy. And she said, yes, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dance,
Excellent.
instead of
Yep.
like stressing, I have to find a gym and join a gym and so no, keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't dance. These hips lie. I don't care what Shakira says, these hips lie. But when my granddaughters were small and I'd be babysitting and if they'd get grumpy or whatever, I just pick them up, put some music on and we'd dance and they would just start laughing and it would be fun. But then when they get a little older, then when you do it out in public, my goal in life is to embarrass my children at every possible opportunity. So it's a good way to kind of embarrass my children when I dance in public because it's not my skill. It's not my skill set. So, but it can be fun. It brings a smile to people's faces. Kids love it when you dance. So dancing is a great, great way. And I know dancing again is a kind of a whole nother podcast episode in the benefits of just dance, but it's a really fun, and there's some songs out there that you put them on and you can't sit still.
Right. I
So
agree.
find a few of those songs, have them available on your phone or whatever, and just put them on and just move. It doesn't have to look pretty, just move.
Dance like no one's watching.
Yep, exactly. I hope you dance. Isn't that a song? That's the same. I hope you,
Yeah.
Leanne Rimes or somebody sang that. I hope you dance. Yeah. I guess I don't know, like, don't live your life without having fun and dancing, I
Yeah,
guess.
go for it. So speaking of that,
Oh, but I know we kind of had talked earlier about like how much walking should one
oh
do.
yes.
Um, and I know there's kind of the kind of universal 10,000 steps a day. And honestly, that was just an advertising promo that a company in Japan had when they came out with a new pedometer. They just arbitrarily picked 10,000 steps.
Okay.
So there is no magic to 10,000 steps. That being said, it is kind of it's not a bad goal to have. If that's not you, if you can't get that many in, that's okay. And if you get more, that's okay too. But it's not a bad goal. But my recommendation for people is find some step trackers that you can get watches and Fitbits, and even your phone, if you have it with you all the time, will generally count your steps. So there's a lot of ways to track your steps. And I wouldn't recommend getting obsessive about it because I think we can get obsessive about too many things in our life. But just kind of keep track of how much you walk now. And then when you kind of have an average, just try and improve on that if it's low. I mean, if you know you don't walk around a lot, if you're getting like 1 or 2,000 steps a day, you want to get more than that. I would say minimum of 5 to 6,000 steps a day.
Okay.
And so just a little bit, 100, 500 a week, add, just try and get yourself up to a little bit more steps a day whenever you can. So yeah,
That's
so
a
there
good,
is no magic to the 10,000 steps, but it isn't a bad goal.
okay. I was always wondering about that. I have friends in my fitness class that have their counters on all the time and they're checking them. They want to know their heart rate and how many steps. And one woman gets rewarded by her office. Her employer somehow links into her step counter. And I guess they used to give them like gym membership bonuses or something. Now they give them like a bonus based on how active they are.
Yeah, that's great. I think my
So,
daughter's company does that as well. And they
yeah,
have teams, like whichever
yeah,
team gets the most steps in
yeah,
that quarter or whatever
yeah,
the time period is. Um, yeah, so it's good for that companies are on board. So like, yeah, if you have meetings and maybe see if you can go out and have a walking meeting,
yeah, yeah,
lunch meeting, get outside and walk. Anytime if you can get your company on board with that stuff that just makes it that much easier
yeah,
to get the steps in, get the movement in. It's not even about steps, it's about movement. So, if you try and get too focused on the steps, you
yeah,
might get a little bit out of control, but just remember that it's important to move your body throughout the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, and who doesn't want healthy employees? So it's a good thing.
Right?
And
Yeah.
you've talked about movement today, and we've in the past talked about getting your sunshine and getting your gratitude. And I know you have a thought about like combining those things sometimes if you can find
Right.
combine
Yes.
them.
It's like I have a whole list in my book of my core 12 things that are important to just easy things to do. And, it's like 12 things, that's a lot, but you can stack so many of these things
Yeah,
together. So if you've watched our other podcasts, we talk about greeting the sun in the morning and we talk about how important being grateful is. And hello, if you go out in the morning in the sunshine, walk for about 10 minutes and think about the things you're grateful for,
check,
it's
check, check.
one. Check, check, check. Done. So
Yeah,
that's in 5 to 10 minutes, you've gotten three of your most important starts for the day done. So yeah,
excellent.
another good time and another important time is after eating. I know like Mark Hyman was talking about blood sugar. Like,
Yeah,
so when you eat, the food that you're eating is converted, most of it's converted to sugar in some form. And if your body, like your muscles use that sugar for fuel, and if there's leftovers, that's when the insulin comes in and puts it into the cell. So if you want to use that sugar so it all gets used, use the big muscles in your body, like your quads and your glutes, these big muscles. And what muscles do you use when you walk?
yeah,
Quads and your glutes and all these big muscles. So I'm not talking power walk because that's going to interfere with your digestion, but after a meal, go for a gentle stroll for 5 to 15 minutes,
um,
and that's going to help keep your insulin levels in check and it's going to moderate that blood sugar rise. And it's another great way to get some movement in and also moderate your blood sugar levels. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Good stuff, Dorothy. Good stuff as always.
Thank you. Always fun chatting. Wait, do
Oh,
I hear some music?
maybe
I think it might be time for a dance party, Joy.
we're going out with a dance. Woohoo!
Get up and dance. Bye, everyone.